තියෙනවනේ.
නෑ ඒ මොඩි එක.
මේක තියෙනවද අන්තිමෙන්ක? නැවන අපි ලාව වෙනවා. Good morning, everyone. Now we begin the Dhamma talk for Poson full moon cell retreat. Everyone, I think, have observed 8 precepts and 10 precepts. So therefore, we don't observe 5 precepts, but we will go directly to the Dhamma talk. Samanta Chakravalesu Atra Gachantu Devata Saddhammang Nirajasa Sunantu Saggamokkadang Dhamma Savana Kalu Ayang Bhadanta Dhamma Savana Kalu Ayang Bhadanta Dhamma Savana Kalu Ayang Bhadanta Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Sayyatapi bho kusalo nagavaniko nagavanang pavisayya so passayya nagavane mahantang hattipadang digato cha ayatang tiriyang cha vitathang so nittang gacchaya mahavatabo nagoti evameva ko ahang bho yato addasang samane gotame chattari padani atahang nittamagamang samma sambuddho bhagava swakhato bhagavata dhammo supatipanno bhagavato savaka sangoti. Today is the Poson full moon day, which has special significance to most of us who are Buddhist in Sri Lanka. It may not necessarily significant to other Buddhist nations, but for us, it is very important. Buddha had visited several times to Sri Lanka when he was alive, and all these perhaps 3 times. All these 3 times he had put his marks in Sri Lanka, like the footprint of the Buddha in Sri Pada, and stupa in the Nagadeepa, and Mahayangana stupa. Marks like this is there even today. after 2,600 years later. Although Buddha visited several times, 3 times into Sri Lanka according to our records, historical records, his teaching was not well established in the country, mainly because during those visits, native people of Sri Lanka did not become bhikkhus or bhikkhunis and continue to learn, practice, and teach the Dhamma to the people in the country. Therefore, Buddhism was not properly established in Sri Lanka, and it was not a continuous practice in Sri Lanka during that time. After the passing away of the Buddha, in the second council, Buddhist council, held by King Asoka, Emperor Asoka, with his help, they decided to send missionaries to different countries. And Sri Lanka was fortunate to have the missionary, Venerable Mahinda and his followers, who came to Sri Lanka. Mahamahinda was Venerable Mahamahinda, an Arahant, was himself is the son of Emperor Asoka, and he was sent to Sri Lanka to teach and establish the Buddha Dharma in Sri Lanka, and that was his mission. And later on, we know even the Emperor Asoka's daughter, Arahant Sangamitta, came to Sri Lanka and established the Bodhi tree in Anuradhapura, which was brought from original Bodhi tree in India. And she also, just like Venerable Mahamahinda, established the Bhikkhu Sasana. Venerable Arahant Sangamitta established the Bhikkhuni Sasana in Sri Lanka. Because the native Sri Lankans embraced the teachings of the Buddha and became the monastics under the Buddha's guidance, under the guidance of Buddha's major disciples. Sri Lanka was fortunate to have a continuous lineage for a long time for practicing the Dhamma and preserving the Dhamma and teaching the Dhamma in Sri Lanka. We know that Thailand and Burma and Cambodia and Laos, these countries, Buddha's teaching was established in the original form But Sri Lanka was fortunate to record the whole teachings of the Buddha on paper, which is all our lives at that time, and preserved it without changing the meaning or the sentences or the message of the Buddha, because it was written down in Sri Lanka about 100 years before Christ, BC. But today, Poson full moon day is the day that Venerable Maha Mahinda, great Arahant, came from India and landed in Sri Lanka in a place called Mihintale, and met the king of Sri Lanka at that time, Devanam Piyatissa. And Venerable Maha Mahinda came with several other fully ordained monks and one person, young person, who is not yet a monk. He was wearing white clothes. Everyone else was wearing Buddhist robes at the time that Mahamahinda met Devanampiya. And to set the example for the people in the country that anyone can become a disciple of the Buddha, after they generated deep appreciation and interest in the Buddha, Dhamma, and the Sangha, anybody can become a monk with the help of the senior monks assembly of senior monks. The young layperson was ordained in Sri Lanka as an exhibition for all the other people, as an example. And then after that, many of Sri Lankans became monks and nuns, and they learn the Dhamma, and they practice the Dhamma, and they gain the benefit of learning and practicing the Dhamma. The benefit is complete freedom from all suffering. Another way to say is complete freedom of all mental disorders, greed, hatred, ignorance, jealousy, and covetousness, ill will. All these things are completely uh, removed from the minds of these people, and they turn to be an arahant, means ultimate saints. They are like living gods. They were not only purified their minds from all emotional problems of any human being, But some of them even gain high level of psychic skills and psychic abilities which are not highly praised in Buddhist tradition. What is highly praised in Buddhist tradition is complete purification of the mind from all defilements. All defilements. So it is the ultimate purification of the mind of an enlightened person. Buddha was an enlightened person. Buddha had many higher qualifications besides being enlightened, mainly to select what is the best way to teach Dhamma to each different person. What are the techniques to get the attention for these confused people to get to listen to the Dhamma, which is very subtle and difficult to understand. When the people's minds are so confused and enraged with anger and hatred, how can a Buddha get their mind to pay attention to the infinite wisdom that is found in the Dhamma, and how to make that wisdom the part of their own life? That is the most important thing. So Buddha could do all those things besides being completely purified in mind, just like any other arahant. Buddha also, Tipiso Bhagava Arahant. Mahamoggallana is an arahant. Sariputta is an arahant. Mahakassapa is an arahant. Buddha is an arahant. But in case of Buddha, there are many other virtues that he developed throughout millions of lives in the samsara, called paramitas, to the fullest. Mahamoggallana, Sariputta, Mahakassapa, all these arahants have developed paramitas, but not to the highest level that Gautama Buddha has cultivated those 10 precepts. Dana paramita, Dana upaparamita, Dana paramatta paramita, Sila paramita, Sila upaparamita, Sila paramatta paramita. So this means there are 3 levels of practicing paramitas, fulfilling paramitas. If you fulfill all the 10 paramitas to the fullest, then only you are qualified to achieve the supreme enlightenment. Samma Sambuddha. Gautama Buddha was supremely enlightened. Not enlightened like Sariputta, but they are free from samsara. Buddha was free from samsara. Sariputta was free from samsara. Mahakashyapa was free from samsara. Buddha was free from samsara. But major qualities of a teacher, great teacher, is different from Buddha and other enlightened beings. So that is why we call him Samyak Sambuddha. In Sanskrit, Samma Sambuddha, fully enlightened. Samma, fully and wholesomely enlightened. Samma Sambuddha. Anyway, so these people in Sri Lanka, by learning, you generate great interest of the Buddha's teaching. If you are a smart person, if you are a wise person, there's no other way. If you hear the teachings a little bit, and as a wise person, you become interested in learning more, hearing more of the teachings of the Buddha. That is the way it is. So you generate interest. That interest you follow, and you gradually become able to see many more things about your own life directly for yourself by listening and learning the teachings of the Buddha. And gradually you see how accurate the teachings of the Buddha compared to many other philosophies that you have heard, that you have learned, and you develop a great devotion and great confidence in the teachings of the Buddha. This confidence of the teachings of the Buddha is called Saddha. When you have the confidence in the teachings of the Buddha, you don't have any suspicion to follow the next step, take the next step. You see certain things, and now you are in light, so you can see where you are going. But the next step, you don't know yet. But Buddha has very clearly explained it. This is what is it, what is there. But you haven't seen it until you walk into that area, that dark area. You walk into the dark area with confidence that Buddha's teaching was so safe and accurate. So you step into the darkness that you don't see very well, and immediately you begin to see things for yourself, and that area become well lit. So now you know for yourself certain things that I didn't know about the Buddha's teaching for myself. I have heard it, many people have talked about, but I didn't know for myself. But when I practice, I know for sure, yes, Buddha was correct. This is a safe step that I took, and I am walking forward towards the supreme enlightenment. In other words, don't worry about the taking next step of the practice. You practice Sila first. Wow, you begin to see the benefit of practicing Sila. and you practice higher sila, mm, and then you receive the benefit of practicing higher sila, and your life becomes so rich and so well established, and then you step forward as a person who has been practicing sila. You start practicing samadhi, minor exercises of focusing and concentrating. A little bit further, practice of metta, practice of maranasati, practice of kayagata sati, practice of patikula sanya, the defilements of the physical body, impurity, not defilement, but impurity of the physical body, and you keep practicing, and then you gain more and more knowledge and wisdom that you never had before, and you gain other skills like jhanas, like pancha deep knowledges. Uh, we call them iddhi, psychic skills, psychic powers, to be able to remember your past lives, 10 past lives, 100 past lives, 1,000 past lives. Just sit down and close your eyes, and then you can remember where you were and who your parents are and what you did. Every detail, every little detail, you begin to see. And then what happened? You develop more confidence in the teachings of the Buddha, because you see the direct accuracy of the teachings of the Buddha and also direct benefit for yourself. Just like Buddha had taught, you will be getting this benefit if you practice samadhi, if you practice vipassana, you gain this, and benefit. And ultimately, if you continue to practice vipassana, we call it practice of panya, direct knowledge. Panya is direct knowledge. Panya is deep knowledge. Panya is full knowledge about what? About yourself, about your life, about your mother's life, about your father's life. You can see why your mother is behaving this way. What can I do to help her to change her behavior that is beneficial to herself and many other people? How do I do that? Now you know, because you have the direct knowledge of the teachings of the Buddha. And ultimately, you find the most fruitful benefit of the teachings of the Buddha, ultimate result of the teachings of the Buddha, which is complete elimination of all defilements, complete elimination of all influences that come to you from outside. Our life is constantly influenced by external sources. These external influences constantly push me around. I get ready to go to a place, go out to see a friend, and also almost all of a sudden, before I leave the house, there'll be a phone call, and I answer the phone call and completely change my direction. Maybe that phone call about some serious illness of your family member. Now my plan to go to visit my friend is completely changed. That phone call influenced me to go in a different direction. Our lives are constantly influenced by sources around us. That is the normal human condition, human way of life. We get pushed around and we become victims of what is happening around all the time. Our directions always change due to causes and conditions around us. But being free from all these influences is so difficult. Those are called asavas. Kamasava, bhavasava, ditthasava, avijjasava. Those asavas constantly push us around like a little dog is pulled to different directions by little members of the family, young kids of the family, pulling the dog from the leg, pulling the dog from the tail, another person pull into that side, another person push into this side, and so we are constantly disturbed and no direction. We cannot follow any direction because we are not independent, because we are constantly pushed around by those conditions in our lives. You are determined to do something, but something else happens suddenly, and your determination has no meaning. You fail. Therefore, in the paramitas, there's another aditthana paramita. Aditthana paramita is you are determined not to be pushed around by what is happening around me. Aditthana paramita, you plan something, this is where you want to go, you stay in the path and you finish the journey that you want to complete. That is called aditthana. That's also paramita. But we also have aditthana, but our aditthana is not very cultivated. I stopped smoking starting today because smoking is dangerous, harmful for me, harmful for my family and people around me. Therefore, I'm going to stop smoking. That's a determination. But this person failed. Next day, he smoked because he had a friend that who is smoking, visited him, and when his friend is smoking, he became excited about the smell and about the habit, that the old habit. Your determination was gone, no use. But as Buddhists, we have the effort to not to lose our determination, lose our focus. Once you are doing this, you stay in the path without being distracted and go different directions. That is a Buddhist way, because Buddha had set the example for us by practicing the paramita of determination and not to be pushed around by the influences like your friend visiting who's smoking. But these paramitas are working with many other paramitas. For example, you have to be a wise person, a smart person, not to pick up the cigarette after you determine yourself that you are not going to smoke. And Samma Satis immediately activate, and I determined yesterday, I made the resolution yesterday that I am not smoking anymore. But now I am picking up this cigarette and putting in my mouth and lighting it. So while you are doing it, if you become mindful, then you can immediately stop it and stay in your path. So this is how Dhamma is being practiced by people like us, Buddhist followers. We are not enlightened, but we are walking towards that direction. So we should not deviate from the path. We should not get distracted and take side roads and go different directions. When you are on the freeway, you are going to a faraway city, and you might need a cup of tea or some breakfast or dinner. You get out of the freeway, but knowing that you are not too far from the freeway, that you can get back as soon as you finish your cup of tea, your breakfast, your dinner. You don't go miles and miles and miles away from freeway to get your cup of tea. You definitely stay near the freeway so you can get back without any difficulty. That is very important, no? So if I'm a practicing sealer, and this young person want to follow the precepts, but something got distracted. But you know, this is dangerous. But my desire is very strong. I would talk to this person. I would start a friendship with this person. But I should not have a deep relationship with this person because I am already in a relationship. Because of your strong desire, attachment for these people, this person, this new person may be your a former girlfriend or wife or husband or something like that. So you have some strong connection, but you don't follow through because in your situation that you are already in a relationship is not safe. But I can be a good friend for this person that I like because maybe I have strong affinity with her from him or her for many past lives. So I'll be friend. I will introduce to my boyfriend, my husband, and we will have a friendship. That is like getting out of the freeway for short time, but get back into the freeway as soon as you can. So path, freeway is the path. Path of Dhamma. Path of Dhamma is also called middle path, Majjhima Patipada. Path of elimination of all suffering, dukkha, nirodha, gamini, patipada. Patipada means path. Path of elimination of all suffering. That is the path. When you say I am a Buddhist, that means I am a person who is in the path of elimination of all suffering, because suffering is not what we want. Nobody wants suffering. And all of us do so many things to be free from suffering. But actual method of freeing yourself from suffering is the practice of Dhamma, Majjhima Patipada. So if you follow that, then you definitely become free from suffering without making too many or any mistakes. When you follow the Dhamma, you are supposed to be free from all suffering. That is what everyone in this world want. All devas, all maras, all brahmas, all samanas, meaning monks, all nuns, all human beings, all men, all women, all animal, all pretas. They all want to be free from suffering. You may be Christian, you may be Muslim, you may be Hindu, you may be Buddhist. That is not important. You are a human being. As a human being, everyone's effort is to be free from suffering. Each of these people that I mentioned, Christian may think that my Christian path is the one that helped me to be free from suffering. All Muslims might think my Muslim path is the way to free myself from suffering. And everyone think like that. But what is the perfect method and fastest method and method that never led me into suffering and pain? That is hard to find. I am Christian, I am Buddhist, I am Catholic, I am Hindu, none of those things are important. What you should seek is what is the way, best way. Now this, I have no too much time, but I want to explain a little bit in 10 minutes of time. Why Venerable Maha Mahinda gave the Chullahatti Padopama Sutta. That is one of the teachings of the Buddha in the Majjhima Nikaya. Chullahatti Padopama Sutta, small sutra of the footprint of the elephant. Mahahatti Padopama, larger sutra, longer sutra of the footprint of the Buddha. Chullahatti Padopama Sutta, Mahahatti Padopama Sutta. Two different suttas on the simile of elephant footprint. Now, those people who want to be free from suffering, they all want to find out how I become free from suffering, how we become free from suffering. They all want to know. This very rich Brahmin, who is very wealthy, now he's riding a horse chariot, all white. It is most like a Rolls Royce in today's. He was riding his horse chariot with beautiful horses, white parasol, white everything, beautifully decorated. He was so rich. And he was riding, going someplace, and he saw another Brahmin, great reverend, priest that they respect, that this rich man is respecting, called Pilotika. Pilotika is walking on the road towards the direction, against the direction that this person is going. So he is going straight, and he saw this Pilotika is coming, and he stopped the vehicle, and he's still sitting in the vehicle and asked Venerable Pilotika, where did you go this day of this midday of the day? The great Brahmin Pilotika is telling this rich, wealthy Brahmin, Venerable, I went to see the Buddha, and so that is why I spent a lot of time, and I am coming back from the Buddha. Then this rich Brahmin called Janusoni also have heard of the Buddha, and he said, what do you think of the Buddha that you saw today? You visited. I have heard of him too, but what do you think? Oh, who am I to talk about such a great being, such a wise person? And this Pilotik is you a Buddha, is a wise person? Oh, no. I am not qualified to talk about his wisdom. Even much smarter, wiser person has talked about the wisdom of the Buddha, but I am nobody to talk about the wisdom of the Buddha. And why are you so highly talk about the Buddha? Because Pilotik is answering, because I have seen all the signs of great elephants in the Buddha. We have not too much time. When you want to find the elephant in the forest for the king, this elephant trainer goes to the forest and he sees the footprints of the elephant. And then it's a smart, wise, well-educated elephant trainer look at the footstep and look at the trees up. The branches were broken, not too high, and he knows, no, this is not the best elephant, biggest elephant. I go further. So he go further and he saw another uh, steps of the elephants which are much bigger than the last one. And he look at the branches broken and he see how his elephant's task has broken the uh, broken the branches or the wood the trees um, and bark of the trees and things like that. And then he said, no, this is not the biggest one. I go further. And he goes further and see, even the bigger, he is not satisfied. No, this is not the biggest in this forest. I go further in, and he go further in and further in, and he see the real huge, big, tall, big task, nice looking, great bull elephant in the middle of the forest. Now he thinks, wow, I found the biggest elephant, and this is the perfect elephant for us to train. So he catch the elephant. So Janus, Pilotika is telling Janusoni, I know the footprints of the Buddha, and I know he is the greatest teacher among all the teachers. You're the perfect Adi Kalyanang. His teaching is perfect in the beginning. Majje Kalyanang, perfect in the middle. Paryosana Kalyana, perfect in the end. Buddha's teaching is perfect in the beginning, perfect in the middle, beautiful in the beginning, beautiful in the middle, beautiful in the end. Therefore, Janusoni, I have seen all the footprints that Buddha was the biggest teacher, the greatest teacher. That is why I have respect. So the Janusoni heard this and he get off the chariot, his fancy chariot. He get off to the ground after hearing this, and he know that Jetavana Rama is in this direction, and he bow. He has a beautiful shawl around his shoulder. You know, out of respect, he collect the shawl and put it over left shoulder to the right shoulder, right shoulder through the left shoulder. Api silgan, just like we are observing precepts. So he put his palm together. Namo tassa bhagavatu arahato samma sambuddhassa. Just hearing the story of Pilotika, Janusoni developed great reverence for the Buddha, and he put his palms together and said Namo tassa bhagavatu arahato samma sambuddhassa by turning towards the Jetavana Rama and on the street. So this elephant footprint sutta is much larger. Buddha has explained it later to this Janusoni, because Janusoni went to see the Buddha after all this. He became a great disciple of the Buddha. I don't know if he became enlightened, but he was maybe very busy with his money and wealth and everything. I don't know if he left all those, but he might have left and became a monk and became an arahant. Janusoni, the very rich Brahmin. By listening to the Pilotika, he became interested. Okay, so what I'm saying is, when we want to find out the way to get out of this suffering that we all want to get out of, you have to find the right path. And Janusoni figured out Buddha was the best teacher who gave me the perfect guidance perfect instruction for me to be from all suffering, all pains, all frustrations, all fears. And when you hear this, King Devanampiyatiswa was so impressed by the Buddha just by hearing the talk given by the Mahamahinda, Arahant Mahamahinda. And he developed so deep appreciation and respect and devotion to the Buddha, and he wanted to learn more. He started learning more and more. And in the end, he asked, what can I do to help establish this teaching in my country? Then the Venerable Mahamahinda said, King, you have to help your people to learn Dhamma and become interested in the practice. When you practice, you become more interested in becoming monks and nuns, and you have to help them to become monks and nuns. So the native Sri Lankan people become monks and nuns, and that is the only way that you can help to establish the Buddha's teaching in this country. So you go to Majjhima Nikaya and type Google if you want to go to, and type Chullahatti Padopama Sutta. It will come to you in English. There are several translations, Bhikkhu Bodhi's translations, and several other American monks have translated Chullahatti Padopama Sutta from Pali to English. You can read it in English and read them. And that is one way to develop great devotion and interest in learning and practicing the Dhamma for yourself. So this is the message for today's Dhamma talk, and thank you for participating in Dhamma discussion. May the merit that you have generated be helpful to be more interested in learning and practicing Dhamma, and by doing so, may you be able to reduce your own pain and suffering that we don't want to experience, and may we all be able to experience ultimate peace that any human being or any divine being or any being in the whole universe can achieve, that is complete freedom of all suffering. Even the Brahmas, even the Devas, they all want to achieve this, but they don't know how. Or even they have no way of practicing it. So now we are so able to learn and practice it, and we should be learn and practice. More you learn and practice, you generated the fire in your heart, in your body. It's not I generate your fire, desire to learn Dhamma and practice Dhamma. You generate yourself, and that is the only way to have the power to move forward. If you don't have the firepower, you cannot move forward. So that is the one that we want to generate. That firepower is called Saddha. You have to generate Saddha yourself. And today, by listening to this Poson Dhamma message, I hope you generated a lot of focus on the Dhamma and the understanding and reverence for the Dhamma, although we are only pointing to the Dhamma, and you have to see, although I point the Dhamma towards the Dhamma, you have to see for yourself. That is the rule. So you open your eyes and look at where the finger is pointed to, and then you can see. Don't look at the finger, because my explanation of the Dhamma is so limited. But if you are smarter, you read the sutra and you gain um, wisdom of 1,000 times of the same by reading the same sutta. So that is the message for today. And by listening to the Dhamma, by observing 8 precepts and 10 precepts, you have generated a lot of merit for yourself. And let us share this merit with all your deceased family members and relatives and friends. I know all of you have somebody in the family who are no longer with you, but you are so together, closely together at one point. Let us think of them and wish them happy lives wherever they may be born at this time. With these thoughts in your mind, please say sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. May all those devas also be able to receive the merit that we are sharing with them. By receiving, may they be able to increase their divine powers, and in return, may they bring additional protection and support for ourselves and our family members. With these thoughts in your mind, please say sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Akasatthā ca bhummattha devānāgā mahiddhikā puññantaṃ anumoditvā chiraṃ rakkantu loka sāsanam. Akasatthā ca bhummattha devānāgā mahiddhikā puññantaṃ anumoditvā chiraṃ rakkantu desanam. Akasatthā ca bhummattha devānāgā mahiddhikā Puññantaṃ anumoditvā chiraṃ rakkantu tvaṃ sada. May you all be happy and well. May you have total peace of mind. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Now the Dhamma talk is over. Bhante Sarada will guide you with short meditation before lunch offering, and we discontinue the Dhamma talk at this time, and you can take 2 minutes of break, 5 minutes of break, and come back to participate in the meditation session. Thank you very much.